This is populism. This is the reverse populism. So people are urged to eat less, to give up their trips, just to please the people who demand such voluntary decisions in the name of solidarity. Such policies on the part of the West, we've seen them more than 1 year, and the food crisis will be followed by another crisis, another wave of migration, especially into European countries. Nevertheless, step by step, decisions are made which push the world economy towards a crisis. They cause the logistic chains to be broken, to the increase of inequality, to the impoverishment of millions of people. And in the poorest countries, this can lead to mass starvation. And who is responsible for this? Who will answer for this? Of course, the United States will try again to solve their problems at other people's expense, including they will launch a new wave of emissions and budget deficits. It's already high enough, record levels in European countries, the inflation, and in the United States. And their mistakes, in economic policy, they try to push those mistakes onto us. They find the guilty parties. We see this, it's obvious. And the United States will also try to profit from the current global instability, as they did during the First and the Second World Wars, during their aggressions against Yugoslavia, Iraq, Syria, and other places. The global markets are falling, and the cost of the shares, the price of the shares of American defense companies is growing. The United States is depriving other regions in the world of their resources for development, trying to push Europe to take American expensive LNG. So the Europeans are forced to pay more, but also they themselves to move European companies from the global markets. For Europe, this means a large-scale deindustrialization and the loss of millions of jobs. At the background of growing prices on petrol, utilities, people will also lose their quality of life. This is the price that the ruling Western elites ask people to pay for their ambitions and short-sightedness, both in politics and in economy, including for the economic war which they are trying to wage against Russia. Or they have already unleashed it. It didn't start over the past months. And the limiting sanctions, restrictions were imposed on our Russia constantly over many years, during many years, trying to restrict our development, undermine our sovereignty and under potential in the production and technologies. These sanctions had been prepared in advance. They would have been imposed in any case. I stress this. In effect, these are sanctions for our right to freedom, for our right to be independent, for our right to be Russia, because we don't want to dance to other people's tune and to sacrifice our traditional values for them. The collective West, Russia is not going to reject their own values. Of course, the West will try new excuses for sanctions. That's why we should not expect that there will be new approaches. And that's why I asked Russian constituent parts and the central bank to develop systematic ways for our economy, expecting that the pressure on our countries, as it happened over the past decades, that this pressure will continue. This is our reality. What I believe important to stress in this connection. Looking at the situation in each separate industry, we should focus not just on overcoming the current challenges, but also to draw up long-term development plans based on the internal capacities of our economy, science and education. We should base, first of all, on personal initiative and healthy competitiveness. We should try to relaunch our economies and increase our competitiveness as a whole. With that, the key indicators of our policy should be the preservation and creation of jobs, eradicating inequality and poverty, improving quality of life for people, and the availability of goods and services. And in this slide, we discussed the situation in the construction and housing industries. We will continue today the series of industry discussions, and we will focus on the aviation industry, which plays an important role in the Russian.
I-am ascultat acum discursul președintelui rus Vladimir Putin, care a prezentat planul despre cum se va face plata gazelor pentru Europa din partea acelor țări neprietenoase, după cum le numește Federația Rusă. Putin a numit decizia privind această procedură de plată în ruble, pe care a tot insistat în ultima perioadă, ca pe un pas către suveranitatea financiară a Federației Ruse, iar președintele Rusiei propune să treacă la un plan pe termen lung de creștere a comerțului cu ruble și monedele partenerilor de încredere. El a menționat foarte clar că în acest moment există o criză alimentară, o criză energetică, o criză a gazului care va duce la un lanț al mai multor crize la rând care va afecta milioane de oameni din întreaga lume și a spus că liderii europeni dau vina tot în curtea Federației Ruse, iar pentru asta vor trebui să plătească. Despre Statele Unite a spus foarte clar că vor încerca să-și rezolve propriile probleme și nu vor putea să se preocupe și de celelalte. Iar un lucru foarte important pe care l-a spus este că a semnat un decret privind o nouă procedură de plată a gazului rusesc cu aceste țări neprietenoase în ruble și trebuie să deschidă neapărat conturi în băncile rusești în ruble, acest ordin urmând să intre în vigoare de la 1 aprilie.